The median sales price in Dallas right now is $385,000. So you look at the price tag and you think, I can make this work. But before you jump in, have you considered what that will really look like in your budget? I mean, could you be overlooking hidden costs that could turn your dream home into a financial nightmare? Well, let's dive deep and find out how much home you can actually afford in Dallas. Well, hello, this is Wendy Pinnell, and today we're gonna tackle a burning question. Can you actually afford to buy a home in Dallas? Or better yet, can you afford the median sales price in Dallas? Well, according to sales data from August, the median sales price in the Metroplex is $385,000. That means half the homes in our market are priced higher and half the homes are priced lower. We're talking about the middle ground for home prices in Dallas. So let's just say you got your eyes set on that median priced home and you're eager to make it yours. But let's pump the brakes for just a second here and let's talk numbers. Okay, specifically, what would your monthly payment look like? I mean, many people think about just mortgage, right? But that's just the tip of the iceberg. There are several other costs that roll into your monthly payment and they can add up quickly. To give you a clearer picture, let's just say you found this beauty of a home in Lavon for that median sales price of $385,000. What would that monthly payment look like? Well, the most significant part of your monthly payment is the principal and interest on your mortgage, right? I mean, that makes sense because you've got to pay back that loan. So let's assume you forked over a 10% down payment and your mortgage is $346,500. Today's interest rate is sitting at a fun 7.75%. So just the principal and interest on that loan is going to set you back by $24.82 a month. But like I said, the mortgage is just the beginning. All right, so let's think about homeowners insurance. This is going to be required by mortgage lenders, and even if you're paying cash, even if it isn't, right, you want it. All right, well, the price tag can vary based on your home's value and location, but on average, you might be looking at like $100 to $200 a month. All right, so let's go with $150. All right, now let's talk about property taxes. In Texas, property taxes can be quite a surprise if you're not prepared. So let's check out what our lovely 4-bedroom in Lavon is going to run. So Lavon is in Collin County in the Community ISD in the Collin College District. You have your homestead exemption, and your home is worth $385,000. For a $385,000 home, you're looking at $7,478.20 a year, or $623 a month in property taxes alone. So we're talking about property taxes, $623 a month, and your monthly payment is already $32.55 a month. But hang on, we're not quite done. Because you didn't have a 20% down payment, you'll also be paying mortgage insurance. We're gonna estimate that cost at $185 a month. And of course, your lovely home is in an HOA, which is going to set you back by $500 a year, or roughly $42 a month. Now, keep in mind, your HOA will not be paid with your mortgage payment, but still, it's a factor with where you live, so we'll add it in here. When you add it all together, your monthly payment is $3,482 a month. I mean, that is a far cry from just considering the mortgage payment alone. Okay, so we've taken a look at the mortgage you'd have right now if you purchased a home with the median sales price. So with all these figures flying around, it's easy to get overwhelmed, all right? That's why it's so important to have a budget. So let's just say, for instance, your household earns $200,000 per year, which translates to roughly $16,666 a month before taxes. Now, after taxes, health insurance, all that good stuff, let's assume you take home around $12,500 a month. So what do you do with that $12,500 per month? You budget it, right? All right, I want to tell you about a smart budgeting model. 40% to necessities, 30% to wants, 20% for savings, and 10% for giving and saving for something you want, right? We're talking like a lavish vacation, okay? I guess who doesn't want that? All right, let's break down what that might look like. Plan on spending roughly 40% of your income on necessities. Now, we already know your mortgage payment is $3,482 a month. Once you remove that from your budget, you have a baseline for how much it costs to cover all your other necessities. So in this situation, you have $1,518 a month for utilities, internet, daycare, cell phone bills, groceries, transportation, okay, all of that. Now to give you some personal perspective, okay, our home is around 4,300 square foot. And during the summer months, our electric bill routinely runs over $1,000. Right, that's just our electric bill. And since we have a pool and irrigation system, our water bill is often over $500. I mean, summer is hard on the budget in Dallas. The second part of our budget model covers wants with about 30% of your monthly income. Wants cover all the non-essential stuff that make you happy, right? Okay, so think dining out, club, soccer, and gymnastics for the kiddos, vacations, Christmas shopping, entertainment, right, all that good stuff. At 30%, your monthly budget for wants would be about $37.50 a month. Whatever you do, don't eliminate the budget for your wants, okay? I mean, really, that is what makes life interesting. Otherwise, you're just working all the time to cover necessities. All right, your next 20% is for savings. And yes, you really need to do this. If you take 20% of your monthly income and apply it to savings, you're building yourself a little safety net, okay? We're talking emergency funds, retirement accounts, all that necessary good stuff, okay? Now, the only thing left in our budget is giving and saving. Okay, now that's 10% of your budget, or around $12.50 a month. Now, this might account for giving to your church or charity, or it could be saving up for something fun. Now, don't we all have the warm fuzzies about such a great budget? But unfortunately, we have a major flaw here, something that can make the whole house of cards fall down. You guessed it, the median income in Dallas. In this video, we've been focusing on the median sales price in the Dallas Metroplex of $385,000. So how does it compare to the median income in Dallas? Well, over the years, we've seen a steady rise in home prices, and salaries are not keeping pace. For some perspective, Data USA reports the current median family income in Dallas is $72,882 or $6,073 a month. So once again, we give away the bank for taxes and health insurance. Your tax bracket will be lower, so let's just say we're left with $5,000 a month. So with the median Dallas income, your take-home pay would be $5,000 a month. And remember, your mortgage all by itself is $3,482. So if you could even qualify for the median sales price in Dallas, your house payment would eat up almost 70% of your monthly income. Okay, so what does this example tell us? Well, we have a housing affordability problem here in Dallas, and it's only getting worse. Recent research from the Texas Real Estate Research Center over at Texas A&M University reveals some staggering figures. All right, from the first quarter of 2011 to the first quarter of 2022, the median home price in Texas surged from $134,368 to a whopping $319,600. All right, that is a growth of 138%. Now, on the flip side, median family income saw a much slower pace of increase, rising only 43% during the same period. So you have these rapidly escalating home prices. And then when you compare them against the more sluggish rise in income, okay, you see this hugely widening affordability gap. And guess who's most affected by this? Yeah, first-time homebuyers. Here in Dallas, we actually saw a fairly significant jump in median family income in 2022, which is fantastic news, right? But the surge in home prices still way outpaced income growth. Now, we definitely saw a cooling in the housing market in the fall of 2022, but the huge price drops weren't sustainable. We basically saw the market rebound during the spring and summer months, and we ended up with prices down around 0.7% year over year. All right, so that's not even remotely enough to alleviate the long-term affordability issue. So what does this mean for you? Well, whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to upgrade, you need to remember it's not just about being able to afford that $385,000 home today. I mean, it can be tempting to stretch your budget, especially when you see prices just soaring year over year. But let's talk real numbers, okay? The golden rule when it comes to home ownership has long been that your mortgage should not exceed 30% of your income. Right, now, why is that? Well, because otherwise it limits your ability to save, right, invest, or even enjoy, leisure activities, without this huge burden of financial stress. It's hard on relationships. I mean, you basically end up working all the time just to pay your mortgage. Now, I know what you're thinking. With the way home prices are rising, sticking to this rule probably seems next to impossible. But trust me, there are ways to navigate this. Okay, so if you're going to avoid overspending, here are a few things to keep in mind, all right? You ready? Number one, financial preparedness. First and foremost, know your numbers. Get a clear picture of your income, your debts, and what a 30% mortgage would look like for you. Number two, diversify your search. Don't get fixated on a single area or home type. Broadening your search criteria can make a huge difference. All right, let me give you an example. We were recently working with a couple who fell in love with an adorable subdivision in Northlake. They found a floor plan that checked every one of their boxes, but it came in at $480,000. And they probably could have qualified for that amount. I mean, the lender would have said no problem, right? But they knew their budget. And even though it worked for the lender, it didn't work for them, right? They were disappointed, but they walked away. Now, just a week or so later, they found a comparable home in Hazlitt. Now, this home didn't have quite as many bells and whistles, and it didn't have the amenities that the Northlake neighborhood had, but it was over $85,000 less, and it worked for their budget. You know, and the buyer told me, she said, Wendy, this isn't my dream home, right? But they were wise enough to stay within their budget. Number three, consider timing. Market timing can be everything. Off-peak seasons are going to bring you better pricing. I mean, if you can get the same house for 15% less in December, that's gonna help you stick to that 30% rule. Number four, government programs. Take advantage of government assistance programs. Okay, I can't emphasize this enough. Some of these programs are geared towards first-time home buyers or those with moderate incomes, but plenty are geared toward incentives that have absolutely nothing to do with income. All right, let me give you an example. Another one of our buyers, all right, a couple in Fort Worth, they were very sharp financially. All right, through meeting with Bloomfield Homes, we found out that there was a government loan program that would waive mortgage insurance. All right, now mortgage insurance, it's gonna cost you anywhere from like $200 a month and more. All right, so we found out the loan program wasn't actually through Bloomfield, it was a government program, and it had to do with census tracking. If you could buy in an area that had a 50% population of what the government considered to be minorities, it would completely remove all mortgage insurance. So we took a look at the map and it was super segmented, but basically these areas exist everywhere throughout the Metroplex. I mean, there are areas with million-dollar homes where this loan program would work. Well, our very savvy buyers, they wanted to take advantage of this loan program, but what Bloomfield was charging was more than they were willing to pay. So then we took a look at Antares homes within the same community, and they also wouldn't come down in price enough for the budget our buyers had decided on. Now keep in mind, they were pre-approved for a much larger amount, but they knew their budget and what they were willing to spend. What ended up happening was we took the floor plan they fell in love with, then we did a whole bunch of research and found the exact same floor plan within an approved census area and in a less expensive neighborhood. All right, it took a lot of research, but that's what we do here at home in Dallas. All right, now speaking of which, if we sound like your kind of people, definitely check out our Let's Find Home questionnaire that you can find in the description section. Well, in this case, our buyers stuck to their guns with what they were willing to spend, and they found a terrific house. Remember, as you're going through this whole home buying process, your goal is to live comfortably and sustainably, not just today, but for years to come. Okay, so let's just say you know your budget, you've got your pre-approval letter in hand, and you feel very comfortable with affording that $385,000 home. But hang on a minute, let's talk about the expenses you may never see coming or even think about adding to your budget. Number one, home repairs. If you've been renting, you've never had to worry about fixing a leaky roof or a broken air conditioner. I mean, these are expenses that can pop up out of nowhere and suck the life out of your wallet. Number two, utility bills. Home ownership often comes with larger spaces, which will mean higher utility bills. Don't underestimate the impact of this on your budget, okay? If you're going from a 600 square foot apartment to a 2,000 square foot home, your utility bills are going to change and you need to budget for that. Number three, commute costs. Did your new home change your commute? More miles mean more gas and potentially more tolls. Number 4, property taxes. And this is one we definitely need to talk about. Property taxes are often based on what you paid for the home. And if you opt for new construction, be prepared for a shocking reality. Let's take a real example to illustrate this point. Suppose you buy a new construction home in Dallas. The property tax value of the land is pegged at $40,000, translating to a modest tax bill of around $424 a year, or like 35 bucks a month. All right, so you get, you breathe a sigh of relief after all you've heard about property taxes, and you figure you're in the clear, right? But then comes November, your tax bill arrives and it's not what you expected. The appraisal district has reevaluated your property, now taking into account the value of your home in addition to the land. With a median sales price of $385,000 for homes like yours, your new annual tax bill jumps to $7,003.22, or a staggering $583 a month. All right, that's an additional $548 each month, a figure that can throw your very carefully planned budget into chaos. Now, you'd like to believe your lender accounted for this in your pre-approval, but that isn't always the case. I mean, even with pre-owned homes, the tax bill can adjust significantly based on what you paid for the home, adding in, just another layer of financial strain. The bottom line, with everything we've talked about here, overspending is a dangerous game. Then when you turn around and combine it with the increasingly unaffordable Dallas, I can see that you might be feeling overwhelmed and a little discouraged right now. Well, it's not my intention to be a Debbie Downer, all right? So let's talk about some solutions. Okay, regardless of your budget, start by doing your own research. All right, do not rely on what a lender or online calculator says you qualify for. Dig deeper to understand what you can actually afford, especially with future property taxes in mind. And while you're crunching those numbers, don't forget to account for the extra expenses that come with home ownership, like we talked about, repairs, utility bills, stuff like that. A super important thing to remember, okay, listen, your first home doesn't have to be your dream home. It just has to fit within your financial reality. Also, never lose sight of the fact that your home is an investment. You want it to go up in value, and you want it to be a home that someone will want to buy someday. With that in mind, when you're picking out your home, there are a few things you want to look out for. Okay, number 1, first, look for a universally appealing floor plan. Now, what I mean by that is a home that has the essentials, right? We're talking basic bedrooms, basic bathrooms, a good usable living area, and a kitchen. Look out for wasted space. All right, you want your square footage in the areas that matter most. Now, sometimes you'll find a home with unnecessary rooms, right? And if you don't know what that room will be used for, no one else is going to see the value in it either. Also, be sure to pay attention to crime. All right, you want to buy in areas with low crime rates. And be sure and think about decent schools. Okay, there are gorgeous $1 million homes in the Dallas area in C-rated school districts. All right, you need to pay attention to those school ratings, okay? Because this isn't just gonna make for a better living experience for you, all right? It's going to contribute to your home's long-term value. All right, I've given you a few examples from our buyers, but I also wanna tell you a little bit about our home buying journey, all right? Our first home was cramped from the get-go. All right, we're talking about your typical dinky 1,100 square foot home built in the 70s. All right, no way was it our dream home, but it was a starting point, and it allowed us to begin building equity. Now, 5 years later, we upsized to a 2,600 square foot home, also built in the 70s. All right, not so much our dream home either, but we needed more space, right? And we just kept moving that equity right along, right? Well, 5 years after that, our third home ended up being our dream home. I mean, no way could we have bought there in the beginning, okay? Each of those times, we spent less than our lender said we could. Simple takeaway here. Be conservative, be patient, and don't overspend. And if you're in a tight budget, do not forget how much you can save by buying at the right time of the year. I mean, you can save tens of thousands of dollars by using seasonality to your advantage. If you want to know more about that, I made an entire video you can watch right here. In the meantime, Wendy out.